Hello, today I'm working on my RAM again, changing out the headlights to be LEDs. I'd already changed the fog light system out. I took a small video on that before, but that was on Amazon. It came out, those are pretty easy to replace, plug and play. The headlights are a little different, more difficult to work with. So I purchased the Sealight version. This is the H11 and 9005. The 9005 is your high beam, the H11 is your low beam. Problem with these, they don't fit the proper orientation for the RAM 1500. And I purchased the, lower line, which was the S1, X1. They actually worked pretty well once I got them in here. And I did learn fairly quick as soon as I got it done, though, that they are supposed to set in a different orientation on the high beam. The low beam sets correctly, which would be the LEDs on the left and right side. But the high beams, they set the wrong way. The beam, when it locks in, there's only one way to put it in. It locks where the LEDs are facing up and down at your 12 and 6. Therefore, it doesn't give you the fan effect. It's not reflecting off of all the lined mirrors. It's reflecting head, top, and bottom, then dispersing the light around. So to correct that, I bought the better version, thinking they were going to be different, and I seen the screw on them, thinking that was an adjustment, because on the line you see majority of them that is an adjuster. This isn't the case. This is actually the low beam. The gasket looks nice, everything fits properly. The high beam is a little different. See, it has a smaller rubber gasket here. Both of these actually can be changed orientation, but they're not supposed to be. So you see that screw behind the rubber gasket? You gotta pop that gasket out of the way, undo the screw, and then spin the collar to where you need it. Mark it, drill a new hole, and then put the thing back together. I added a different O-ring. I took this O-ring, put it underneath, and squished it down, and then put this one on, because this collar isn't actually sealed. This collar, the plastic just slides over top of the aluminum, and then they use this, I guess, as a grommet to help hold it in. And as I'll show you in a few minutes, it's not a very tight hold for the high beam. The low beam fits great. So I'm going to need to do an adjustment on that and get this all taken apart. I've already done the passenger side, made sure everything works, so you can see now that that one is sitting straight up and down like it's supposed to, and the front lights are as well. You can't see them. There's a difference between the qualities of the S1 and S2, and I can show that side by side in just a second. But there is a little bit of a difference in those. So to take the headlight out, this one was giving me a lot of pain, which it was easy the first time. You got one screw here, number 10. Another one that sets way down low. It's hard to even see at this angle, but those two. On top of that, this is the one that sets down low. It's a very long screw. I'll show you the passenger side real quick. You can see it in place. I see it right there, right in front of my finger. So that I used super long extension with a universal bit on it, and I also had my number 10 system. Once you get the screw out, it wants to hold on to the rubber grommet, so I had to spin it quite a bit, and this one really was a pain to get out, just to get it upward. So once you're done with pulling the screws out, there's a plastic clip you have to go in the back access panel. Here's the access panel, and there's a white clip up in there. Let's see if we can find it right there. You see it has a little handle on it. You push up, that releases. You feel it pushes up quite a bit, and that will release it. So you had to get through that access panel that's inside there. That's just a little snap clip. I'll show you the clip. That's just one of these clips you got to pull out, and then it pops right out, and that closes or opens and closes that panel. Once you get to this point, you're going to need to take the light, and sorry, but I'm with my own video here. Pull this side of the light out, and then untuck this side, so it's going to be a little close picturing. Okay, so you have to clear all this here, and once you clear it, it will pull directly out. But you do have to clear this side too. Be careful, there's a bolt up in here that has it's metal, so it will scratch. So I gotta get this side out completely first. See how it's opened up here? And then this side will come right out. There we go. Now we have the cords. Okay, so the cords push into these little spots here. They literally just pull out easily. There's 3 of those. One here, one's actually attached to the clip, and one's right underneath it here. So once you've done that, now you just pull the plugs out. You have to pull the red clip up and push the clip in, red clip up, push this in, and wiggle it off. That one's easy. This one's a little bit more difficult. You need a screwdriver. You clip into that little piece inside there, you see where it's at, and pull upward on it, and it comes right out. There's no way to push on it other than getting a screwdriver and push up in there, so I have to put you on pause. Okay, so now we got the headlight out. See the clip here, and that clip right on the very top. Just right there on that very top section right there has to be pushed up with a flathead screwdriver, and it comes loose. I said this one comes off pretty easy. Little red clip. Here's the eye socket piece that you had to pop it out of, and that is the white clip. You see how when it's pushed down, it locks it in place. When it's up, it gives a whole larger size, so it lets the unit out. And you just get through the access panel right there to get to that. Alright, to the headlight assembly. These counterclockwise come off. It's easier with one hand. So you see the unit I had in there, got the tie wrap holding that in, and then this one here. Okay, those are both the same size and they fit just fine. Okay, so I'm going to pull these out. This is the high beam, by the way, so you'll see what I mean by there's a movement in there. It's not as tight as the original, so that one's loose. The regular beam sits a lot snugger, so I'll show you how to adjust that with a better O-ring if you have one, or it probably won't hurt anything. But from here I'm going to pull these 2 out. You see I have a little bit of double-sided tape on the pieces. Just to get it out of here. So I thought I'd show this real quick. This is the low beam. You can see the difference between the diodes for the cheaper one. There's no fan. This is a larger size and diameter for better heat distribution, but there's no fan to it. And this is a little bit more solid aluminum stem, and you see the LEDs are closer together. They look like they're a little bit larger too. And the X2 has the fan version. I think it was only like 15 bucks after the discounts they were giving, so it's definitely worth going with the X2. One thing I just found out though, I pulled this up to get it off the double-sided tape, and that popped right out. So yeah, quality-ish, you know. It does have little clips on the inside. I guess it's supposed to grab, so I figured I'd show that real quick. Not too thrilled on the quality, but at least they epoxied it in. Even if it does get water in it, it should not affect the anything inside, any of the diodes or anything. Okay, so taking the high beam out, I just pulled the wiring that I had tucked in there out. Normally you would just unlatch your connection and then turn the bulb counterclockwise, and it'll come right out. So that's similar to these. You're just going to turn it counterclockwise, pull on it a little bit, and it comes right out. Now either version apparently can be manipulated to turn. I just went ahead and bought the other ones thinking that they were going to be better, and they would probably have a system that you could adjust. but Sealight has failed short on doing that. So for this one, there is also a screw that you would be able to do the same thing with the collar, because the collar just sits on top of it. I'm looking right there's the screw there. So you see the LEDs and there's a screw. So you'd have to take the collar off, the screw out, adjust this the way you need it, drill a new hole, put the screw back in, and voila, you'd have the proper orientation. But I'm doing that with the better version. Once again, this is, you can see that this unit, maybe not so easy, but this one here is the S1. It's actually smaller than the S2. Doesn't have writing on it or anything. They just use a label like that for the S1 version. S2 they noted on here. The fan system, the cooling, what I did my research on with the fan systems are supposed to be much better, top notch, make them last a lot longer because they don't have the heat build up as much. So we're going with the better version. I said I bought the boxes separate. I had to buy the H11s separate from the 905s, and each one of those had $20 off. So by the time I paid for them, I think it was somewhere in the $70 price range, where the quad pack for the S1s were in the neighborhood of $60 minus, I don't know, like $10, so maybe been like 50. So 15-20 bucks more. Got the better version, and since I'm having to pull it all apart again, I'm just going to go with that. I'll show you how to adjust the better version here in just a minute. Basically though, for the installation on the low beam, it's pretty straightforward. Match up your tabs. You see the tabs there. Put the light into the socket. Get the tabs to set flush, or the rubber grommet sitting there. You can tell by it's how snug it is. And just turn it clockwise until it stops. You can feel it stop. Okay. From here, I'm going to just reattach the wiring inside and attach my plugs. Now the odd thing is these plugs are like, you can do the locking either direction. They don't really fit like you would think. So what I found was the lighter color seems to be positive. That worked for me. Maybe it has a polarity change inside of the box, so it doesn't matter. But it really doesn't say anything other than put the plug together. And, you know, there's not a left or a right, not up and down. So it's a multi-purpose plug. But I'm using it does say on top here positive and negative. I'm using the lighter color for the positive. I'm going to clip this together and I'll be back. Okay, so I got that plugged in. You see the plug back there, set in there, and double side tape it down. So gravity should always pull on it. It shouldn't come loose. It's nice and tight for now. Bulb's tight. Everything's set. I'm going to close off the low beam. Things are a little bit tougher to spin, but you can tell when it goes down because it should lock all the way down. This one's completely locked. There we go. So no blue showing around the outside. If you look on the inside here, you can see the bulb, and you can tell just barely that it is setting in the proper orientation. One down. Now we get to work on the second one. So what I did with the first one was I took the orientation of the regular bulb. So the regular bulb sits in here and faces towards the grill. You can see that. So when the bulb's in here, it literally faces towards the grill. Okay, so I know that I need to have this lined up when it's facing towards the grill. That would need to be facing towards the grill. So currently, if I put this in here, you're going to see that it turns in that way. That would be just the way it goes in stock. And once again, it is in the wrong configuration. So I need to do a 90-degree turn. Just make that unit turn 90 degrees. So what I did before on the last one, and it worked, was I'll mark, get it in the picture here, the hole is lined up right underneath the back side of the screw. So you see the hole where the other screw comes through? This one's here. So I took that hole, turned it 90 degrees so it lined up with the line here, and then marked it, pulled it, collar all the way off, drilled it. I'll show you that in just a minute. So obviously, to get this taken apart, and this was the old one. I need to put that one away in the box. As I said, you can see the comparison, kind of see the quality between the two, and if you get the deals like I did, it's definitely worth the money just to go a couple bucks more. Alright, so like I said, this plug, it can connect on either side. Not the get the focus there. Not the units for the 9005. So they only have one clip way and direction. As you can see, the positive actually has the lighter color on it anyways. So with that being said, you basically pull these apart. You can do that with two hands better than one. There we go. And we will put this in the to go back to Amazon, because I'm not going to adjust the cheaper bulb. I'm going to put the newer version, the better version in. You can go there. Okay, so what I'm going to need to do with this is first take the O-ring off. To do that, just getting a flathead screwdriver, getting underneath the O-ring and peeling it up slowly. No damage, just taking it completely off. Put it to the side. Now you can see the screw that needs to come out. Take that out. Very tiny. It is magnetic, so if you have a magnetic tip, it will hold. You see it on there. So from here, I can rotate the collar. So knowing I want it side to side, and I want the wires to face, it can't face that direction. They have to face downward to give me that 90 degree. So I'm going to, I can make it face upward or downward. There's actually enough room to make it face downward where the cord can still go inside the cup, and it will allow for this. I'm going to make it face downward. So doing that, I know I need it to set like this, and my big tab is off to the, I have two big tabs and the small tab is off to the bottom. So I'm going to need to rotate the collar. Oops, sorry about that. Rotate it right onto that line, and then that's where my new hole is going to be drilled, right below that hole here. Directly below it is the hole for the screw that we took loose. And you can see how this collar comes off so easy. There isn't any you know, there's some play on it. There's no gasket or anything in here, so that's a shame as well, because it's not sealed properly. So I'm going to add a small that red O-ring right there. I'm going to stick it on the bottom when I put it back together, like I did the other one, and put a black O-ring I have in here that makes it tighter. So I'm going to take care of this. Obviously, I need to mark this first, so I need two hands.